The National Collegiate Athletic Association, also known as the NCAA Transfer Portal.
Our research question is, what rules can be established to prevent Division I athletes from utilizing the NCAA transfer portal, primarily for name, image, and likeness (NIL) opportunities, while also maintaining the integrity of collegiate sports?
So we chose this research question to highlight the complexities that lie within the transfer portal and how athletes are choosing to take advantage of the system. We also wanted to show how the NIL highly contributes to the rising number of portal entries each year.
The transfer portal is a diverse system that can be viewed through a variety of perspectives. As you can see, we chose to highlight the ethical, cultural, economic, and futuristic lenses. The ethics of the transfer portal are a very controversial topic, but we decided to highlight some of the current negative issues through this lens. The cultural lens helped us to dive deeper into the evolution of team camaraderie, and the economic lens helped provide factual evidence for potential revenue-based opportunities for collegiate players and coaches. And lastly, we highlighted the futuristic lens to offer possible solutions for potential problems for the NCAA that may arise in the future. However, we excluded the historical lens due to the brief past of the portal. Because it has only been in existence since 2018, we were unable to find multiple valid sources to provide justifiable context through this lens.
So first we're going to provide some context surrounding the rules and regulations of the NCAA transfer portal. So before 2018, the transfer portal did not exist. In order for players to transfer, they had to gain permission from their coaches and endure a lengthy, complex process in order to move forward with their transfer. Then in 2018, the transfer portal was officially created, now allowing players to switch programs in order to further advance their athletic careers. But the rules were still very restricted. If players did choose to switch programs, they were penalized by losing a year of eligibility at their upcoming school. Then in 2021, the rules of the transfer portal were once again updated, now allowing players to transfer and have immediate eligibility at their new programs. Once these new rules were set in stone, thousands of players flooded the transfer portal, especially in popular sports such as football and basketball. This new revised NCAA transfer portal has and will continue to alter the environment and culture of college athletics.
So now we're going to be transitioning into some of the negative effects the NCAA transfer portal has on collegiate athletic programs due to the thousands constantly leaving their schools and selfishly seeking a better opportunity. So team camaraderie and chemistry can be damaged due to the portal, as it's hard to find players and coaches who will agree with the solutions and the dynamics provided. Also, coaches are left scrambling each year because they have to rebuild and find new talented players to fit in with their team's dynamics. And finally, the disappearing middle class in collegiate athletics is a pressing issue the portal creates. While the great teams keep getting greater and the worst teams keep getting worse, the divide between conferences keeps getting bigger. Unfortunately, top players always want to play for top schools, and that leaves the smaller schools behind as they are unable to provide these players with the opportunities that they are looking for. This can be exemplified today with collegiate football programs such as Alabama, Clemson, Michigan, and Texas.
So now we're going to be moving into name, image, and likeness. So in July of 2021, NIL was officially established, allowing players to gain a bigger following by participating in profitable brand deals without putting their scholarships at risk. Players can gain NIL money through endorsements, social media interactions, and even the selling of their merchandise. Now with these new NIL opportunities in existence, athlete mindsets have been shifted as players now enter the portal solely seeking wealthy, popular schools that can provide them with these NIL opportunities. This has caused the culture of committing to a school for 4 years to practically no longer exist. Now, NIL money is not evenly distributed. A perfect example of this can be found by looking at the defending national championship Michigan football team. Michigan's starting quarterback is currently earning over $1.4 million off of NIL brand deals. Now, comparatively, another starting Michigan football player is only earning $62,000 off of NIL brand deals. This proves that a player's revenue doesn't solely come from their on-field performance, but more so of how they market themselves to fans and viewers alike.
Due to coaches' inability to ensure the return of their players each season, they have had to learn to use NIL as a recruitment strategy. Instead of coaches being able to use their coaching styles, team dynamics, or advanced facilities to persuade new players to join each year, they have had to use NIL opportunities. This is unfair though, because when it comes to wealthier schools, they may have better connections with big name brands, and this would give their athletes better NIL opportunities. This is unfair though when it comes to small schools due to the fact that they might not have as many connections with these big name brands, offering their athletes better NIL opportunities.
So as you can see in the graph of the total collegiate football transfer portal entries since 2018. In 2018, numbers were around 2,000 and rose to about 4,000 by 2020. In 2021, which was the year that the rules were refined and allowed players to have immediate eligibility as soon as they transferred. The numbers skyrocketed. In the 2021 to 2022 season, number rose to about 7,500, and then in 2023, around 8,500. This helps prove the continuous growth in popular sports such as collegiate football.
So our counter-argument provides a variety of reasons in which NIL can be beneficial to players and coaches alike. So many currently argue that since coaches are able to leave their jobs and to find a better coaching opportunity, it is unfair to call athletes unethical for doing the same thing. We argue, however, that players who bring in a lot of NIL money can be beneficial to their programs through media presence. If a player is very popular at a certain time and they're bringing in lots of jersey sales and ticket sales for people who want to watch them play, they can be seen as helpful to their school in terms of bringing in more money for new facilities and new upcoming players. Another way to view this is through the eyes of someone who deems NIL beneficial for players with prospects of going pro. By growing their image and business relationships, athletes are able to better prepare themselves for a time in which they will be consumed by a larger source of the media. An example of this would be the National Football League or the National Basketball Association, also known as the NFL and NBA.
The first solution that's currently in effect is that players cannot formally talk to coaches unless their name has been entered into the NCAA transfer portal database. However, there are multiple limitations for this solution, and the first one is that assistant coaches can find ways to cheat this rule and are able to encourage players to switch schools. Also, potential NIL deals, especially from larger schools, are so attractive that players think it's worth the risk to switch schools even without an official offer from another school. Therefore, this solution has been proven primarily unsuccessful.
So our first original solution was that players must wait 1 year to participate in NIL deals after transferring. Some limitations to this could be that brands would be less likely to commit to NCAA athletes due to the risk of losing them for a year. And then this in turn can cause less recognition and exposure for the new programs that they are going to. But some benefits to this could be that all jersey sales would go back into the programs instead of to the players' pockets. And then players could then focus solely on the transition between schools without the weight of their NIL responsibilities weighing down on them. And so after we weighed the pros and cons of the solution, and even with some of the potential drawbacks, we still feel that this is a very valid solution.
So our second original solution has to do with players only receiving half of their promised scholarship money at the beginning of their season, and the second half once their commitment to the next season is confirmed. An issue that colleges might have with this is that it's hard to manage the budget between players when money is getting given up to all different times. A benefit, however, is that money lost from transferred players can go right back into the programs to help build better facilities and help make them seem attractive to new upcoming players. Another benefit is that players are more likely to stay at a certain school longer if they know they have the confirmed money, that they won't have to worry about their scholarship at any school. After weighing in the benefits and drawbacks of the solution, we decided that it was very valid to our argument.
So after evaluating each of our solutions, we found that combining the new NIL restriction and splitting scholarship money for players will be our best possible solution that will likely ensure an effective outcome while still maintaining the integrity of college athletics. With players having to wait a year to participate in NIL, the NCAA can feel more confident about players not entering the portal specifically for selfish reasons. And with partial scholarship money at risk, players will have to think twice before transferring, which will in turn hopefully decrease the amount of players entering the portal each season. All these benefits united will help us reach our overall goal of helping college athletes further advance their athletic careers without exploiting the NCAA transfer portal for name, image, and likeness opportunities.
Thank you.
All right, oral defense questions. Brooks, how did you decide, or how did the group decide to include Carter's IRR?
We decided to include Carter's IRR because he was mainly focused on the futuristic side of things. In Carter's IRR, he mainly focused on possible solutions for potential problems that the NCAA may see in the future, and we included that into our solution by trying to create the most sustainable transfer portal yet.
Carson, describe how the content of the team presentation changed as a result of group discussion.
So after discussing with our group, we realized that we didn't want our research question to solely revolve around the transfer portal and the rules of the transfer portal. Instead, we felt that our argument would be stronger if we were more specific and showed how NIL affected player motives when entering the transfer portal.
Thank you. Carter, in the future, what change would you make to your group norms and how would you expect that to improve the team presentation?
So one overall change I would make to my group norms is probably to be more collective as a team from the start. We all kind of went out on our individual things at the beginning and came together at the end, but I feel like we would better all have an understanding of the entirety if we all started together and went one by one.
Thank you. Abby, reflecting on your group's work, which one had the greatest impact on your overall understanding of the problem that your group identified?
So the one that had the most impact on me was probably Maddie's lens, which was the economic lens. And she really talked about how the smaller schools are becoming smaller and the bigger schools are becoming bigger, and how much the NIL money, like from the brands, could contribute to where the players are wanting to go. So that really affected how I looked at it.
Thank you. And then Maddie, what is an example of a compelling argument from one of your peers' individual reports that you decided to exclude from the presentation, and why?
So we decided to exclude a part of one of Brooks's arguments about how the portal is not really helping with the sustainability of athletics in not just football and basketball, but in other sports, due to the fact that they're not as popular and they're not bringing in as much money. So that's basically that's all that we really excluded. We tried to make it even for everybody.
Excellent, thank you. And do you have your works
Works cited?
cited?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
There's a bunch
more
of
pages
pages.
to that.
Yeah, we can go on.
Alrighty. Thank you so much.